What's up, guys? Welcome back to Sinister-Cast, the podcast where I talk about music, my channel, and things going on in my life. Trying to be somewhat quiet because it is later at night. You guys are going to see this pretty much when I get done recording it. When I do it this way through OBS, the file size is smaller, so it uploads a lot faster than most of my other stuff. But that's besides the point. Before I begin, anyway, I want to remind you guys that I did put out a cover yesterday. I did Paranoid by Black Sabbath, so I can put a link up here or in the description or wherever for you guys to go check it out. It was a lot of fun. It was a little bit different. I took Paranoid by Black Sabbath, and if you don't know, Black Sabbath is like a doom metal band, and they kind of got more up to speed, but I turned it into kind of more of a thrashy, heavier version, I guess you would call it, but yeah, so you guys can go check that out. Definitely let me know what you think of it. But anyway, moving on to the main thing. There's a couple things actually I want to talk about. Something that I wasn't going to talk about before, but I am now, and I'll explain why. That sounds confusing. First thing is, I'm sad. I'm really sad because, no, not because of my phone, but because you guys know that I idolize Megadeth. Okay, Megadeth was always my number one for a long time. They still are. They're like my favorite. I like them over Metallica. Some of you don't agree, but I do. But if you guys haven't heard, and I found out on Facebook that Dave Mustaine, wow, sirens. Dave Mustaine, the frontman for Megadeth, just got diagnosed with throat cancer, which sucks. I swear, there's so many sirens that go off around my apartment. But, yeah, Dave Mustaine has throat cancer. I thought it was fake at first. So I don't know if you guys have seen this yet. But I thought it was fake at first. But it's not. He's got throat cancer, which sucks. But, so apparently he says, I've been diagnosed with throat cancer. It's clearly something to be respected and faced head on. But I've faced obstacles before. Working closely with my doctors, and we've mapped out a treatment plan that will... that they feel has a 90% success rate, which I hope is true. Treatment has already begun. Unfortunately, this requires that we cancel most of the shows this year. They're still going to do the Mega Cruise and some other stuff, but they're canceling a lot of their shows because he has to get treatment for this. So hopefully they caught it early enough and head on to like get rid of it and all that fun stuff. Because like, if he can't sing anymore or record anymore or anything because of this, that's going to suck. I mean, they're kind of going downhill-ish. I don't want to say going downhill, but they're not as good as they used to be. They still put out good stuff, but like, I think Endgame was the last like really, really like 10 out of 10 good album. But apparently they said, or he's saying, meanwhile, him, Kiko, David, and Dirk are in the studio working on the follow-up to Dystopia. So I guess they're working on another album, so that's good. Dystopia wasn't that bad. Even Super Collider was kind of okay. But, Dave's voice just isn't the same, and maybe that's why. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that's why. His voice, I mean, obviously he's gotten lower and grittier because he's gotten older. But maybe the throat cancer was part of it. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Maybe that's part of it. He might be having issues with his throat because of throat cancer, duh. But either way, that kind of sucks. I mean, knock on wood. Don't want to jinx it. I hope we don't lose Dave to throat cancer. That would be really terrible. Like, I'm glad I've seen Megadeth already. I've seen them a couple times. And I'm glad I was able to get that out of the way in case that does happen. Again, knock on wood. But still, like, I still idolize him, as a guitar player and a musician, and, as a person, for the most part, he's gotten a little bit more radical, politically, but, that just kind of happens. But yeah, that kind of sucks. That really kind of sucks, honestly. I got the oven going, so I smell gas. It's a gas stove. But yeah, that really sucks. I don't know. You guys can let me know if you've heard about that already or not. I'm just looking at the article that it's on. Keep smelling food, but it's just the oven. I don't think there's anything in it. My girlfriend wants to make a pizza. But yeah, so Dave Mustaine has throat cancer. Sucks. Really sucks. But it is what it is. Second thing I wanted to talk about was, so I went driving around today and looking around at different stores and stuff like that. I like doing that on the weekends, looking at different places and window shopping and stuff. And I went to Guitar Center, and for a long time I've been wanting to try orange amps. For a really, really, really long time I've wanted to try orange amps. And I've always looked at like the Micro Dark and the Micro Terror. They're like amps that are literally like this big. And you hook them up to your cabinet and you play them and they sound killer. Like, I know the band Mastodon. If you guys don't know Mastodon, they use Orange products. I don't know if they use the Micro stuff, but they use Orange brand amplifiers and equipment and stuff. But when I was at Guitar Center, I ended up testing out the Orange Micro Dark. I wasn't expecting a lot because it's a tiny thing, but they hooked it up to a 4x12 Orange cabinet, and I was messing around with that thing. That thing is badass. Like, it's only $180, $190 or something like that, but that thing is badass. And I've always wanted to get one, and now I feel like I really want to get one even more. I'm not sure which one I want to get, though, because I know there's the Micro Dark and then there's the Micro Terror. I'll have to kind of look up and see which ones I want, but being able to hands-on test out the Micro Dark, it sounded fucking amazing. Like, the only thing I don't like about it is, well, here, let me talk about what I do like about it. So I really wasn't expecting much from it because I've only heard it in videos and recordings and stuff. I haven't done it in person and messed with one, but I turned it on and it's got some volume like you wouldn't believe for a tiny little amp, and I cranked the gain and it's got some fucking power. Like, it sounded heavy. It was chunky. But like, no, regardless, I liked how it sounded. Don't get me wrong. The only thing I don't like is that you only have a single knob to adjust the tone. So it's got like a shape knob, which I think it does like a low pass to a high pass filter kind of thing. So like, you turn all the way to the left, you have like a really low gain type of sound, and when you turn it all the way up to 10, it's like a real high gain kind of sound. You can kind of get in between that, which is, I guess, fine. You can kind of hit some of the special spots that you want. I kind of had it at probably about 6.5 or 7. It's kind of that chunky, mid-range thrashy sound that I like. But the fact that it doesn't have the 3-band EQ, like the low, mid, and treble, like, that kind of sucks. But, for something small like that, you can't expect a lot. But, I mean, I want to get one. It's awesome. It doesn't take up a lot of space, and they sound fucking phenomenal. And especially for people, if they're just starting out and they want to get like a really good amp, that's definitely a good option. But you got to remember, it's not a combo amp, so it's just an amp. It doesn't come with a speaker. You have to plug it into a speaker. It's just the preamp, basically, or the amp. It's a preamp and a power amp, but it's the amp. It's not the speaker. So I was wondering, I could just hook it up to my cabinet and see how that sounds, and it would probably sound really, really good. But also, if you guys didn't look at the video I put up, God, I don't know, a couple weeks ago about what I found out about the amp that I have, where I have it routed out to my computer, so I record directly from my amp to my computer instead of having to mic up my cabinet and stuff like that. I was just thinking about how it would sound if I route it out to my computer. Now, the only difference with that is that when I found out with my Marshall, that has its own cabinet simulation built into it, or emulator built into it, so that when you route it out to your computer, it sounds like it sounds like it's playing through a cabinet. Now, with amps that don't have that, and you're just taking the signal straight from the amp out of like a signal out to the same thing, just not through an emulation, it's going to, and then it doesn't have the cabinet simulator, it's going to sound really, really, really bad. It's not going to have any low end. It's going to be real high frequency, real kind of ear piercing kind of sound. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, if you have an amp, plug your headphones into it, and that's usually what it's going to sound like. You'll notice it sounds way different through the headphones, the headphone port, because it's only driving through those little speakers. A lot of your sound that you get comes from the speakers you're using, when you play something, because it resonates. That's where the real sound comes from. So you can have one amp and play it on 4 different speakers, and it's going to have a slightly different sound, because you get the sound of the wood and the speakers and how loud it is and how it's built and all that fun stuff. So some of those amps that don't have a cabinet simulator, it's going to act like it doesn't have, the big speakers or like a cabinet that it's running through. So it's going to sound really, really bad. So what you'll have to do is run a cabinet simulator in your audio workstation, like Cubase or Pro Tools or Reaper or I don't know if Audacity, you can do that with Audacity, but Cubase, like I use Cubase through that, or Reaper or something like that, and get it to work that way. So I could do it either way. It's just, I hope it has the built-in cabinet simulation, because it cuts out a lot of latency issues, because if I were to plug my guitar straight into my computer and run an amp simulator and a cabinet simulator through Cubase, there's a lot of latency. But because I have my actual physical amp routed out to my computer, that also my amp also has the cabinet emulation in it, there's a lot less latency, a lot less lag, so it's easier to play through. But that's the thing. If you guys watch the cover I did, the Paranoid cover, that's all done directly from my amp. I didn't mic anything up. I took the signal straight from my amp to my computer, and that's what it was. There's still a little bit of latency issues, and I'm still trying to figure out how to fix that, which you'll kind of hear where I'm not completely tight in the song, but that's because it's hard, especially with something like that thrashy, that fast, to adjust for that latency. So like when I'm hearing myself and I'm playing in time physically, I hear it back, a split second later. Kind of throws things off a little bit. But either way, that Micro Dark sounded badass. And that's probably going to be the next amp I get. Something orange, like a true amp. I'll probably get another mini amp, because those are kind of cool. Like I know Orange has a mini amp, like the Micro Crush. There's Fender has one. Who else has a? Marshall has one. I don't know. There's a handful of different, miniature amp combo. So it's an amp and a speaker. I have that one Honeytone one that sounded pretty cool. So those are cool, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about an actual amp. Like an actual amp, not an amp combo, an actual amplifier without the speaker. That will probably be one of my next ones, an Orange, because they just sound so good. It's hard to really beat them. And like I said, I was really, really surprised at the sound with it. But yes. I hope everything sounds good. I know I'm doing this thing like I did the last Sinister-Cast, where it's like through OBS, so it's got all my live stream stuff around it. But doing this allows me to quickly get it done. I don't have to really edit, and then I can quickly put it up and upload it because the file size is smaller. If I do Sinister-Cast like I used to with my Sony camera and recording the audio separately, I have to put them into my editing software and sync them together, then cut and render that out. And that takes a while, especially with Sinister-Cast, because they're so much longer. It takes like an hour to 2 hours to like render out something, depending on how long it is. And then I have to upload it. And then that takes even longer to upload because the bit rate's a lot higher coming from my camera, and it's a lot bigger file size. Like this file size here, maybe a couple 100 megabytes when this is done. If I did it the other way, the old school way, it comes out to like multiple gigs. Like it's like almost 10 times larger, so it takes 10 times longer to do everything. This I could quickly do. OBS does the video and the audio, already brings it down to one file for me. All I gotta do is whoop, send it to YouTube, let it upload. It uploads fast because the file size is small, and that's it. I can get it out to you guys a lot quicker. But yeah, that's kind of the plan at this point. Is doing it from here. From here from now on. I'll probably get a better webcam at some point because this one only shoots 720p. But when it's shrunk down in the little box you're seeing me in, it's not that big of a deal. And especially if you're looking at this on a phone, or if you're even looking at it at all, it's not, it'll look fine. It'll get by. But I do want to get something that's at least 1080p, 30 frames a second at least. And I'll be happy with that because then I can do a lot more. And especially when I live stream, things will look better. Sound-wise, I'm fine. But it's just the video kind of sucks. I can't use my camera at this point as a live stream or like a webcam thing. I wish I could. But to be able to set that up, I need my camera to not overheat, and I need to be able to have it hooked up to do that. And you got to buy all these extra things to do that, and it's expensive, and it's really not cheap. But yeah, as long as I can get like a decent webcam that shoots 1080p for $60-$70, so that's not that bad. But yeah, yep. And I think that's all that I was going to talk to you guys about. So yeah. Let me think. Let me give you guys a question and a recommendation. Let me think. What band have I been listening to? Ooh, I got one for you guys. So I love metal. You know this. I also love swing music. And there's a band that does some kind of swingy metal. They're different. I'll tell you about them, okay? Look up this band, Diablo String Orchestra. Diablo String Orchestra. Yeah. Swing. Diablo Swing Orchestra. That's what it is. Diablo Swing Orchestra. They're really different. Let me see if I just want to make sure I got that right. I'll look at my phone just to make sure I got that right. Diablo Swing Orchestra. Look them up and look up the Bullrog Boogie, or just type in like Diablo Swing Orchestra Boogie and listen to that song. They're really, really, really good. They're really jammy, really cool. They're different. Check them out. Let me know what you guys think about them. And the question that I want to leave for you guys is, what next song would you want to see me do a cover of? Okay. I've opened up my world a little bit to like rock songs and stuff like that. Normally I try to stick to pop and stuff that's not already kind of metal-y. But now I'm kind of opening it up a little bit because I did Paranoid already. So if there's a rock song or like another kind of metal song you want me to cover to do my own thing on, let me know. So recommendation, Diablo Swing Orchestra. Look up Bullrog Boogie. Listen to that. Let me know what you guys think of them. And let me know what songs you want me to do covers of, so I can start adding them to my list and picking good ones. And third thing and last thing, go check out my cover of Paranoid. It was fun to make. I kind of had to rush it at the last minute, but it got it done. And yeah, so go check it out. I'll put a link up here, down here, somewhere in the description, wherever. Go check it out, or go on my channel and check it out. But I'm cutting enough here. So like I always say, thank you guys so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye, guys, and watch my other stuff.